Welcome, everybody, to the VRML Breachers preseason. My name's Nightfire with 2 E's. I am here with my co-caster, who is now on screen, but too big. We'll get that fixed in between our... We're just got like one eye of you, Martin. But how are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. I've been busy today in general, so this just adds to my schedule. But it's fine, you know, I love Breachers. I'm happy to have, hop on my first cast, by the way, at least co-casting for the first time on VRML. So I'm excited. This game is looking like it's gonna line up pretty well, I think.
Yeah, now we have you in frame. Now I gotta lower myself. I'm too tall right now. There we go. Okay, everything's fine in the VRML space. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. We are ready for our matchup which is going to be Ephesus versus Project Nebula. What are your thoughts on both of these teams? Because we're looking at kind of a similar record, and I don't think the community knows which way this matchup's going to go.
Yeah, looking at the votes, and even as you kind of already mentioned before, the current stats, one of them, I believe, Project Nebula has a 2-1 record right now, and then Ephesus, not quite sure how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
They have a 1-1. So both teams have already lost a game. One of them has won one more game, but I'm hoping it's going to be a closer lineup, no crazy blowouts. But hey, you never really know, right? Some of these teams that they might have played earlier and won against might have been easier teams, might have been even harder teams, right?
Yep.
So we really don't quite know the skill set yet. And considering it's preseason still, it's still only a couple weeks in. Everything on the ladder is still being formed, so we don't really know,
Yeah, for those just tuning in, this is Breachers. It is a 5 versus 5 search and destroy style game, very similar to Rainbow Six Siege, but in VR. These teams are competing to win so they can go up in the regular season ladder. Right now we're in a preseason, a 7-week-long preseason. At the end of that preseason, the top teams in the ladder compete in a tournament where we then are crowned with a first, second, and third region-wide. For now, at least, the preseason is mostly for honors, but, with Season 1 coming up and a prize pool soon to be announced, there's a lot to look forward to for the future of VRML here. We are just about ready to hop into the rounds, and so I have everything technically sorted as well. We're looking good on the tech end. I'm going to go ahead and give them the ready when they are, as I do see everybody is in lobby and does seem to be about ready to go. But, yeah, this is the unknown question. I mean, if you look at the VRML.com website, it's a space where you can vote on these matches. You can vote on who you think is going to win or lose. And you can see that it's almost a dead even split. I think it's 7-8 on those community votes. And we've had otherwise very one-sided votes on these matchups. And it does look like both teams are ready. We will be jumping in to round number 1 here on map number 1. Ephesus on the left, Project Nebula on the right. And we're going to go into our first pistol round of the afternoon on Factory to start things off. This is the real tell, right? What is the team going to be bringing to the table here? And we're seeing what seems to me to be a pretty well-equipped Project Nebula team right now with that breaching foam and 2 health syringes.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot right now, and a lot of people are rocking the Spectral meta, as we've seen, especially with the nerf recently to the Cyclone. So really excited to see how these competitive teams adjust to the Spectral. Is it the meta pistol? Maybe one of the other ones is more important, like the Jesper. It did take the nerf, but maybe it's more important to get the 500 for the eco, right? Maybe you can get a better Vezin if you have a really good round. Who really quite knows? We'll see. I think, when did the update come out? I think within a week or not long ago. So things are still very much developing after this huge update to the Cyclone, which was for a while considered one of the standard plays that people would be using before getting something like the Vezin, right?
First kill comes through already over the top as Ninja here popping out of these door blockers. Nice setup on the Ephesus side as they have these door blockers. They've definitely invested into the defensive end. They have the Cyclone and the Health Syringe. T-Rod's going to have to defend as Jade swings wide. T-Rod pops out the door, and there's 1 kill, but it's a 1-for-1. 4 left alive as Newbie trades around and scoops up Envy drop. T-Rod also finding another kill. Ninja on the back and Jim, the last 2 alive. It's a 4-player entry in. There's a nice headshot from Ninja to scoop up 1 kill, and we're into the 1v3, the battle through the doors as the EMP gets planted on the backside, and that's 200 into the pocket. The flank coming in from Jim doesn't work out, and now Ninja alone has to retaking and is getting pushed.
Yes, this round is not panning out well for them. They almost had a really good flank there, but it didn't quite work out. They had an amazing flank watch on the enemy team, and it did take them down, their 1 player. Right now, Ninja trying their best to really clutch it up on a 3v1. I gotta say, Ninja has definitely been performing really well already in round 1. Right now, I think he had almost 2 kills coming out of this round, but unfortunately, it's not looking like the best play out for them, considering both everyone on the other team is holding down in storage and does get the kill by Manny, and that round does go to the attackers.
Solid opening start for Project Nebula here as they do kick things off with a nice 1-point lead. That's going to set them up, in some cases, for a couple of Vezins, as we see Jade and Newbie buying into Vezins and Utility with the Breaching Foam. Ooh, actually selling off the Vezin, maybe second-guessing that, oh, yeah. The team saying, hey, hold on, what are you spending all your money for? We got more to do here. They are very much... Man, this is going to be, I think it should be shaking out to be a good, solid match. I do want to see what the Omens are going to do. You know, I think the SMG might start to see more appearances here in our matches with that Cyclone nerf, because the Cyclone was the go-to, right? You would just pick that instead of buying into an SMG because it was so powerful. But we've seen stuff like the RCP and the Omen really doing well in these matchups already. And so I'm curious to see if we will see any success with the double Omen buy coming in here from Serial and Rod.
Yeah, I think there's almost even a potential buff, right? Because wasn't there a recoil buff on the SMGs? Last time I checked, don't correct me. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't mean to say don't correct me. So, I mean, I was playing around. I've noticed that playing things like the Viper, playing things like the Omen, and it looks like they already started their entrance right now. Project Nebula already down a player, not working the best right now for them. But we'll see. They've already had 2 down the hatch, which is definitely a really good spot. Swords trying to go in for that quick plant from Envy drop with the EMP, seeing if they can play the hatch play potentially. That's what I would do, but we'll see what happens there. Unfortunately, does get shot out by Jim. They weren't defending it well. They're already going in for the defuse on the back, and it looks like it's now into a 1v4 situation, and it's not like for the attackers. And I don't know what happened there, but it really rolled really fast.
Wow, blinking you'd have missed that round. I mean, honestly, that was a blur, but a fantastic job of this. I can't believe it. They came back from that round. The cap plant was nice, but the push through with the pistol to find the headshot on the plant and then to pick up those extra... The defuse while there's still attackers alive, that was one way to get a round 2 win, that's for sure. They put that one in the pocket, and what a stellar way for them to... I mean, now we have RCPs and... Oh, apologies on the replay. I hit a button I wasn't supposed to. I was trying to get us back to the game as we are going to get ready.
It's so good, just this buy phase, definitely worth the replay. It's fine.
But again, we are seeing RCPs coming in and an oral. Instead of saving at any capacity on the Ephesus side, they are choosing to buy into these guns. And, I mean, do you blame them? It worked well that last round. It got them the round win with the Omen kill and a couple of pushes in with the pistol shots. So, you know, I think we're just going to see a wide diversity of weapons. But as I say that, look at the attacking side on Project Nebula. Everyone has bought in to those Vezins because they did save that last round.
For sure. I mean, Vezin's definitely the meta gun, and I think it will be for the time being. I know people have complained in some of the Breachers Discord about how can we adjust SMGs to make them more make more sense, right, during some of these lower eco rounds, or do people still go pistols? Do they do this in between now because of that Cyclone nerf? Do they do the Spectral instead? I don't know. We're still seeing it develop. I am curious to see how these teams work it out. And it looks like Serial just got poked out. Unfortunately, they were going in for the roam, but they did get caught out by 2 of the teammates. From Project Nebula, it looks like they are pushing in through storage. Not quite working out in the best. Oh, actually, I'm totally wrong. It was a Project Nebula win. They came in well through storage, and it worked out for them. And unfortunately, Ephesus was not able to hold that down and did get shot out during that round.
Yeah, a very solid round 3 into the pockets for Project Nebula. You can see Jade telling them to run it back. We need that again, and certainly that's one good way to lock in your economy for the next 2, 3, even 4 rounds, as they are really set up nicely here going into round 4. It's only actually 3 left in this, so Curious to see what the play looks like, but Jade is dancing off of that win, and it's going to be a tough one to go into here if you're on Ephesus, just because they have been buying and purchasing omens and orals and utility, and they're going to continue to do that. They're not afraid to spend their money, unlike some teams who really do value that save and do not want to waste the money. Well, I would say waste, but spend, really, because it's not wasting if it gets you kills, but spend that money on those extra tools and kind of just forego the round. Risk reward, it's something we're going to constantly see throughout the course of this preseason, and it's what ultimately makes this game so interesting, is what teams do end up taking that risk, as Serial does shoot down that first drone leading in through the window. A little bit of information radioed in as you see Manny swinging the doorway or that window. A nice shot and breach in. Everyone's going to be pushing to this side of A now, and what is the reaction coming in from Ephesus, because they are going to need to retake this A site. It's going to likely be a push in, a plant. The breaching foam's here. The door blocker still hasn't been broken down. And, a nade catches ET on objective. They're down to 3 now as they're going to have to hold down this breach. A counter nade comes in. That's a good nade. That's going to pick up Jade as they try and come through. A nice swing from Jim. Scoops up another. A nade on the backside. Almost catches Jim on the back as we have trades back and forth here. We're into a 2v2. Jim here swinging wide. Gets scooped up by Nerd. They're going to be able to plant as T-Rod's going to have to retake into the 1v2.
You know, it's crazy. I feel like when you're seeing these teams on paper, you would think Project Nebula is going to be just swinging it, doing crazy, because I think we've consistently seen them playing with Vezins, doing good enough to really get their economy up enough that they can fully outfit their whole team. And we're seeing Ephesus maybe playing more on the gadget side, maybe just trying out something more like the Omen, or they really believe in their SMGs.
Right.
They're utilizing more, as people would say, off-meta items, and yet it still comes down to 1 or 2 players towards the end of the round. I'm shocked. You know, it really is on paper. You would think one team's gonna just dominate or roll it, but I gotta give credit to Ephesus, as you mentioned earlier. Even though they're doing off-meta weapons, they are doing well enough to actually keep the round going and get them a couple kills, right? It's only, I think that last round came down to 1 or 2 players left.
Yeah.
So definitely shocked by Ephesus doing really well with their SMGs and all rails, or I'm not sure if that's a Cadillo, I'm not quite sure yet, but definitely doing very different gunplay that I'm used to seeing at this competitive level. But we'll see. We'll see how this round pans out. Again, it looks like Project Nebula is going for fully outfitted Vezins. Maybe they're wasting their money. Who knows? But I'm just kidding.
I mean, they're getting kills. You know, they are chipping away a little bit at the economy of Nebula when they are making these investments. So it's not a complete waste at the end of the day, but it is putting them in some cases where they're down 20 to 25 credits left in the case of Jim. So, you know, it's not ideal for sure, but we'll see what they're able to do as we do get into round 5 here, down onto this second floor. Definitely, I suspect some hatch breaches to be coming in here. But ultimately, we are seeing a pretty tucked-in defense from Ephesus. No one really extending too far out, maybe except for T-Rod, who is on the outside of these objective rooms and is maybe going to be swinging in from this bathroom once the push comes. But for now, it is very much just going to be a, if anything, slower setup than we've seen coming in from Project Nebula. I felt like they've kind of just been barreling towards the objectives on their attacking rounds so far.
For sure. I think we've been seeing Project Nebula playing a lot more aggressive in a lot of these rounds, so it's kind of interesting to see them play a lot longer. They're going for more, looks like a 3-2 kind of split, having flanking on each side, and then playing really hard on the EMP and getting the plant off, right? Right now, they've already planted, and it's working out well for them. They have the position right now. They're holding it down. Just kind of seeing what's going to happen. Looks like Newbie in the back is able to get the shots off, and T-Rod unfortunately does get Jade on the other side. And a lot of back and forth right now with these two teams, as they're really trying their best to pinch into this room and really have these teams feel the pressure. And I'm pretty sure Ninja, again, got to give credit to Ninja, able to survive until the very end and maintain himself. Unfortunately, does get shot out there by Newbie as the team does hold it down with the 3-1 with the EMP plant. And I don't know, Project Nebula, how do you think they're doing? Because they're going in fast when they are in there, and they're getting the plant off almost immediately.
Yeah, it's a solid attacking set here coming in from Project Nebula, but I am seeing flashes of contention coming in from Ephesus. You know, I think one thing, especially with this game as a whole, is you do see in some cases teams winning one side more often than not. It's like a 60-40% probably, but there is still that percentage, and it's somewhat like that in Onward, where you do have the the defending side typically has an advantage. That's not always the case in the game of Breachers, but it varies from map to map, and we could see a depending on how the start goes for the reset coming up after this round, and if Ephesus can get this round here, as they're all buying, they do have a couple of Vezin buys. They're 2-4 going into their defense, their attacking rotation. If they can get 4 on attack, it's tie game. We're going into map 2 tied up. So there's still a path here forward for Ephesus if they want to get back into this. But right now, Project Nebula are in control and with the economy in their hands. One more round to go before we swap and reset. And at least there's that early pistol round that went, or the second round, excuse me, that went the way of Ephesus.
For sure. Looks like Project Nebula will be on the upper hand this time, especially with their economy being so high. We'll see if Ephesus is able to make anything come out of this. But I don't know. I'm excited to see their developing play. Project Nebula has shown that they have the chops for making these good attacking plays and really making them happen fast. Looks like they are going to be making a push into B.
Here comes the breach. Push is here. Manny's coming in through the hole as the nade comes through. Shots over to Ninja. Now Jim's going to swing wide. Manny finds the shots into the corner, and they need help as ET tries to swing. Doesn't end up throwing the nade as it gets stuck in their hand. It could have been a good toss down the long hallway, but the rest of the team comes barreling through. Serial's tucked in. They go down on the corner. It doesn't matter where the audio transmitters are. The shots come through, and there's only 2 left. Again, kills coming in from the side of Ephesus, but just not enough to get them those round wins. It's coming down to those 1v2s, 1v3 moments, and ultimately it goes into the way of the Project Nebula squad. We swap sides, reset economy, and Enforcers now attack. First team to 7 takes the map, so 2 more rounds to go for Project Nebula, which does mean that there is some economy elements to be considered here. And, do you save if you lose this next round? This next round actually very big. If Nebula are able to scoop this up, it's really going to set them up nicely to counter Ephesus. And there's just no real chance for Ephesus to even have a solid buy going into the next round if they don't win this pistol here. So a big 1-2 coming up, but if they can get it, then Ephesus have a road back in to this series. So again, I'm not counting them out just yet. I don't know if you are, but they've been looking, I think, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I've seen some teams that might do amazing on, attacking or defense, but when they get that side swap, it's not the same at all. Some teams really do specialize on one side or the other. I think we'll find out this round if Project Nebula is that team, or maybe they really specialize on attack and defending's not really their best, or vice versa. Sorry, yeah, let's flip it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do as Ephesus tries their best to kind of come in, go for this attacking play, and see if they can switch it up and swing things in their favor and their economy in their favor, hopefully. As it looks like they're already getting a development, getting a shot off on Envy and trying to push in through Electric, but they do get picked off in that little cheeky corner, and I know that corner is tight. Does get shot off by the jump spot from Jade, and it's not looking the best right now for Ephesus. We'll see if they can have anything develop out of this, as it looks like they're splitting their attack right now with 2 on the other side, and Jim coming in through assembly line. Real slow, real sneaky, trying to get a pick off from the back. Who knows?
Serial and T-Rod breaching through on B as they start to make their way into the objective space. Shots coming over the top as Jim tries to swing into the inside of the defense, essentially into the lion's den. But now the 2v4 in play here as Manny, Nerd, Newbie, everyone here on B, and T-Rod and Serial just waiting for an overextension to come through from Project Nebula. They're looking for 1-2 headshots with these Spectrals and a little bit of shoulder damage done there. Both players on the ET side low on HP. This is a solid defensive round with a big kill there on the T-Rod. 1 left. This team's going to push him down. Serial's dead, and it's another round into the pockets of Project Nebula as they go up 6-1.
Yeah, definitely. The round was kind of mixing up to be something else, but unfortunately Ephesus, I think, started falling apart when they actually started developing their attacking play. And as we can see right now, I think Project Nebula, they really have the shooting mechanics there. As we've seen, they tend to win those one-on-ones more often than not against Ephesus. And I think we can normally see that during pistol rounds. I think pistol rounds for me, we can normally see which team is a little bit better at certain mechanics. Because obviously at that point, everyone's on this, the same level playing field. So there's not really much else to do besides either better strategy or better shooting mechanics, right? Or both even. So right now, Ephesus is on the back heel. We'll see if they can come back from this. They are down this 6-1, and unfortunately at this point, all the best they can do is get that draw for this match. Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for Project Nebula, they just need one more win, one more round win, and they're good. They're good for this first map.
It is interesting to see Nebula go the safe route, buy into the pistols. They're not investing into anything here. The Omens are coming in on the ET side, so it's clear that they are obviously backs against the wall. You can't really afford to save any cash right now, so let's see what they're able to do with our round 8 that's kicking off here. As ET and Jim have broken through the second floor, the hatch there breached in. I like how they are playing this cautiously, almost anticipating an aggressor to be up on this top floor because, I mean, with how good Nebula is playing, you would expect them to start to get aggressive.
And I mean, I think we're going to start seeing that development already with Jade and Envy coming around the corner, playing this double roamer play, trying to see if they can catch out Ephesus. From the back end, but we'll see if anything develops right now. They are slowly walking through, and it looks like they might be running into some opposition pretty soon, unless Ephesus is able to move in fast and get some more plays right now into the next floor. And it looks like already Jade's got a kill off from one of the first roamers coming in, does get shot out by the team, and Envy looks like he is going to be backing off a little bit, not playing a little too aggressive. I think maybe they're hoping that the team is hoping that maybe someone's not back there or nothing like that. But looks like they are trying to move into Biohazard Lab. Sorry, big Biohazard Labs. Yes, it is. And it looks like the team is splitting up.
Wow, that was a big coverage from T-Rod over the top as they swung out to catch that kill. We are into the 4v3 advantage into the hands of Ephesus. Again, this round and every round from here on out for this Ephesus team is a must-win. They cannot afford to let go of one here. Otherwise, it will be the map number 1 into the hands of Project Nebula. But, hey, they're looking good. They have the kill advantage. It is essentially still... Well, actually, I say pistols versus pistols, but there are 3 Omens into the hands of the attacking team. And so SMGs, really, versus pistols. We'll see if the meta of Spectrals versus the SMGs prevails right here. We're getting the active live test for folks that want to know what guns they should be going into. And, of course, I think it's a lot that does come down to preference in a lot of ways, right? Especially with those SMGs. Which SMG do you prefer? Is it that Omen? Is it the RCP? Some do buy into the Viper, you know?
Yeah, I know Viper, I believe it didn't take that many nerfs, but I don't know. I myself play, and I just don't love the recoil on it. Definitely kind of funky. But it looks like they are trying to pinch the team into server room. Let's see if it is successful. I'm not quite sure if they know that both of the teammates are actually in there, but they actually went the smart route and got the EMP plant off. We'll see if anything develops out of that. Unfortunately, it looks like it did not work out for the other side, and it looks like it's now down to a 3v1. With Ephesus doing well. It does get picked out by Manny. Manny tries his best to clutch it up. Unfortunately, does get shot at by T-Rod, which, by the way, has literally 1 health. Not sure how they survived that, but they definitely did eke it out. And it does give Ephesus the win that round. So it looks like the economy is a little bit more on Ephesus' side for the first time, I think, in a couple rounds, right?
Yeah, they have been having a tough go of this series so far up against Nebula in terms of that economy dominance. They had this once before when they were 1-1 going into round 3, kind of a similar situation. So you are still seeing on the side of Nebula that they do have at least enough off of that early win because they saved and didn't buy SMGs. They have enough to buy into these Vezins. So if anything, again, was the investment worth it to get them to this stage? Because now they don't have the option. You're looking at ET, and we are seeing more Omens coming in. T-Rod does scoop up a Vezin, but a shotgun coming in from Jim. And so not the, I guess some would say, again, meta guns, but I've seen RCPs dominating lately. Okay, I don't know what to say is the meta truly. All right, I'm gonna again leave it up to preference. Maybe we'll see a couple of kills coming in from Jim with this shotgun. All right, I'm not even gonna count that out at this stage. Anything can happen, especially with how close Manny is to these windows. Oh, as I say, that they're tucked in around the actual way tucked into the corner, so not too vulnerable there. No one really exposed to any of these windows, and that's, I think, one thing worth noting, how tight this Nebula team does stay tucked in around the objective, and how tight ET did. You know, we're not seeing that aggressive roamer on the third floor outside of the last round.
For sure. I think, you know, most people would say, Project Nebula played the more smarter eco play right now. They took that loss last round, knowing that they had another, 4 or 5 rounds to play. So the economy is going to be on their side, and it is, right? They have a lot more Bezins. They're able to work off of it, and we'll see if Ephesus is still able to make this work out for them. And it looks like somehow Envy Drop did not see the cloak next to him, but it's fine. Their teammates there for the recovery and able to get the shots off. Looks like T-Rod does get a couple shots off, gets the kill there, and is able to pull out before anything else happens. We'll see if T-Rod can make anything else develop out of this. On the other side, it looks like they are trying to do kind of a pinch into multiple different angles. Unfortunately, not quite working out for their teammates, as it now does come down to Ninja Kai once more. Always surviving. Got to give Ninja credit. Trying to get into that last one, but unfortunately does get picked out by MB Drop, and the win does go to Project Nebula.
A solid 7-2 into the hands of Nebula for map number 1. They started off strong and kept that momentum going all the way through that first map. And look at this, a beautiful new update to our streaming package, Martini. We have stats just below us on this scene, okay? You can see the kills, you can see the deaths. As I say that, none of the stats were tracked off of that round, so I don't know what actually happened there on the stats. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Well, hold on, we can do it. We can pull it up in game. We still have the stat page here, so give me a second. I gotta figure out why oh, I know, I'm bad. I didn't run the stat update. Naughty me. It's my fault. It's okay. You can see the stats here, and then what we can do is we can fake it. It's like we're on the home screen, okay? Me and Martin are still here on the. Okay, there you go.
We got this.
Boom. Everything's totally fine. It's all good. Your thoughts on that first round, though? Do you think that Ephesus, with a map swap, have an opportunity to maybe go up against what was a very solid Project Nebula map 1?
You know, it's hard. I want to be the skeptic and say I really do think Project Nebula has this in the bag, but I will, as I mentioned earlier about attacking and defensive specializations, I think certain teams honestly specialize on certain maps too, right? Maybe their attacking plays are better on Skyscraper or on Hideout or something like that. Or maybe a certain team starting on Revolters, you know, they feel like they kind of lost momentum and they don't feel as hot going into the Enforcers. So having those, you know, map picks and those side picks, I think are a really big deal, and being very strategic about it does affect how your team will perform. You can't just do everything random, right? Maybe your team performs better in a certain way in a certain map, so you want to start with that so you actually feel better, or maybe you actually want to start on the opposite. So say my team is better at Enforcers on Skyscraper, so maybe I start on Revolters, knowing that on the later half my team has it locked down, right?
Yeah, it's all options available to these teams too, right? Because if you are when it's your turn to pick map or side, you can choose if you want to start on a side, and then that map option goes up to your opponent. And so there is that variety in the sort of process of getting in, just in that map picking decision. And that's where I say it's good to have subs, because, if you wanted to have a particular person that maybe excels just on attacking on a certain map, you can bring them in for that map and have them play, and then bring someone else out that's maybe better on defense. There's all kinds of variety that we could be looking at in terms of rosters from these teams coming in. And it does look like we are just going to be waiting for a fifth to reconnect, and maybe we are actually seeing a sub come in from Nebula right now, because that wouldn't surprise me as we do get ready for our next map. I wonder if we have that. We can get a little inside info here. Yeah, it is going to be Skyscraper for map 2.
Good. I'm excited. A map reset is definitely a huge reset versus a side reset, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're taking time to really talk and kind of just figure things out, or just taking a breather. And honestly, that does go a long way. Unfortunately, I do wish sometimes in these waiting rooms you could pause the enemy team so we can actually have more of a powwow and really talk through strategy. Because unfortunately, you can't do that until you really get into the game. Yeah. Which, as we all know, during that buy phase, it's only a minute. It only lasts so long before you got to just start right into the action, right?
Yeah, some say you say only a minute, and I think some spectators may feel like, wow, it's a whole minute. It's like, no, that's not a lot of time to hash out strategies and get things sorted. And so it is impressive. It's why you really want to be putting in the practice. You want to be having the scrims so you can use every moment effectively. If you have plays already in mind for like, okay, if we're at this point in the eco, if we're down 1-2, if we're down here, then we save here. Like, if you have all that strategy already sorted, then that just alleviates a lot of the bickering, I suppose, or the discussions you would have as a team when you're in that buy phase, and it optimizes your time so you can get set up into the proper attacking positions. There's so much. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why there is such a high skill curve to this game. You know what I mean? Because there is so much room to grow as a team and as a player, individually and as a group. There's just that's why I love a shooter like Breachers, just because it really does play well into the esports space. And I'm excited to see again when we get week 6 and 7 what these top teams are going to be breaking out, because I think we're going to be seeing stuff that we've never seen before.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, these strategies, people say they're still figured out, but there's still so much that can happen and so many things that can change, especially as teams play other teams and get better and better up until the point that the top 5, top 10 teams really start hashing out their good strategies, at that level. Because right now, as we've seen a couple games, they come out, not everything's matched up perfectly yet, but once you get later in the season, as you mentioned, towards 5 and 6, these teams are going to be playing against each other, playing against the top people in the league, and really refining their strategies to see what does it mean to be a top Breachers team, right?
I mean, again,
definitely excited.
Even here with this matchup, even in week 3, this is a relatively close matchup. You look at these KDs, everyone's finding kills on that attacking team that lost 7-2. I mean, there's T-Rod's 11-7. That's a pretty solid KD ratio on that series for having then lost. Jade's 11-5 in comparison as the next top shooter. They were close, in a lot of ways. They had the kills coming in, but again, it's just those clutch moments. You see some teams in particular just do really well when it comes into the clutch, when it comes down to locking in those last couple of rounds when the sweat is on your brow. You do see some teams do better than others, and maybe Nebula is one of those, but I'm not quite sold just yet. I do want to see what we get on Skyscraper, especially if we start in this way. I mean, I don't know I'm curious what your opinion is on Skyscraper, because I think the consensus may be that it lends itself more to defense than offense.
I think so. I've talked about this, competitively, so I've talked about this a lot with my team, and I think Skyscraper, it lends itself so well to the defense because of the roamers. I think a really good roamer that knows when to attack and apply pressure and when to pull out will excel on Skyscraper, because it's a huge circle. I can attack a team, get my attack in, and run out. It's almost like guerrilla warfare. Was it guerrilla warfare? They can just come in, attack, and leave, and that applies a lot of pressure to the enemy team. And I think people always forget sometimes, one of the most useful things in this game is actually time wasting when you're defending. Because if you are able to extend those 3 minutes out to, only 30 seconds left or 20 seconds left, the enemy team now has to rush in and either wipe the whole squad or get the plant off. And we all know, planting takes about still 5 seconds. So there's still some amount of time that things need to happen. There's only so much you can do. So I think Skyscraper, personally, if you have a good roamer on your team, definitely a defending heavy, like a defender's side, a defending leaning game. But you never know. I think we have yet to see, peak attacking skills yet on something like Skyscraper. So we'll see if it really is leaning more towards one side.
Not sure what the holdup is, but I do constantly see players coming in and out. So I'm gonna assume it's something technical on the side of Nebula, because they have had 5, like 4 or 5 times already, and then had drops. Either that, or they really just can't decide on who the heck they want to play this next round. I don't know what they're doing over there, but we will hopefully get in to round 2 soon. Okay, I've told the hosts we're ready to go. They're informed. And I'm now getting info that a 10-minute timeout has been called. So we've been rambling for a good portion of it, at least. Hopefully we've bought enough time.
Sounds good. We'll be pushing through. You know, I could talk about breachers. We can talk about strategy, I guess. I've definitely put a good amount of thought into it, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Definitely. I did like how Ephesus was playing more off meta guns and honestly still doing well. Because I know you had mentioned that even though it was what, a 7-2, 7-3 on the enemies from the enemy side, it still worked out really well for Ephesus, which for most people as they look at this, they're like, whoa, that's weird. They're not playing all Vezins or playing, you know, a pistol to a Vezin, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're showcasing that you don't need to always rock a Vezin to do well. If it comes down to 1 or 2 players, to me, that's honestly a close round. You know, to me, a rolled round would be like a 5-0, right? But no, they're consistently, Ephesus is able to knock those numbers down, perform well, and not get totally rolled over, even though the other enemy teams are all rocking Vezins pretty consistently, right?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I just...
so definitely impressive.
Or fine. I think everything should be good. Yeah, we are just still, again, waiting for both teams to ready up, but they are on a break, so we are going to go to intermission. We've stalled long enough. I don't have anything else left to go outside of promoting our sponsors, so we can give them a quick shout-out. Those include ProTube VR, offering fantastic stock options like the haptic the magnet mag tube here that I have on my cam on display. It's a really nice little tool that helps snap and stabilize your aim with the stock up against your shoulder. I highly recommend these. I love my ProTube. And they've been a sponsor for us for years, so easy to recommend them. Do check out ProTube VR if you are interested in helping stabilize your aim in any of your favorite shooters. They have a couple of awesome, cool stocks that have haptic feedback as well for both a single controller, like a pistol, and for the full stock, so that they have really cool mounts. If you do want to check those out as well. And then obviously HyperX with the Quadcast S here that you're hearing my voice through, and the Cloud 2s. They have great, fantastic products. I've been using HyperX now for years, and I've had this Quadcast S in particular for I think over 2.5 now with zero problems. So they're an easy company to recommend. Do please check out HyperX if you do have an opportunity to. And a big shout out to Triangle Factory for supporting VRML and helping us bring VRML to Breachers. So far, it's been fantastic with over 100 teams going into week 3. 98 teams, technically. I think now we're over 100, though, going into week 3. So a ton of people showing up to play in the Breachers League, and we really do love to see the support. But it does look like we're going to take the rest of this 5 minutes in this 10-minute timeout. And so we're going to go to break. When we come back, it will be map number 2. So don't go anywhere. More VRML in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We are here and back for round number 1 of map 2. My name's Nightfire. I'm here with Martin E. Martin, how are we feeling about map 2 going into Skyscraper here? We have Project Nebula on the defense with Ephesus on the attack.
Pretty good, at least for me, right?
Yeah.
But Ephesus, they're definitely on the back heel right now. At this point, I think the biggest thing was them resetting their mindset, making sure that they're going well. What did they do wrong last round? As we talked about, they have 1 full minute to cover everything that they could have, because you don't want to talk about the strategy in front of the enemy team, right? In that lobby, even with that 10-minute break, right? So we'll see if they are able to reset their minds, switch things up, and do better coming into this map. And it looks like they already are starting things off. Not on the best foot. Do get the pick off from Project Nebula, but it is trading left and right really fast. And it looks like they are still trying to push this hallway going into B side by management and even this management lounge, right? Looks like a lot of picks off from every single corner. Looks like I think they're waiting for T-Rod on the back end, maybe for that flank. But right now it's taking a little bit too long for T-Rod, because right now Ninja is stuck on his own, trying their best to kind of come in and do well. But unfortunately does get picked off by the roamer in the back by Jade. And it's now down to T-Rod trying to hold down this 1v3. And, you know, we're already seeing Project Nebula performing really well as expected coming into this round, which is good. You know, they're going to be starting really well. And I think one of the problems we've seen, problems, maybe that's not the best word I can use, but something we've seen a lot, you know, in this game is once you start doing bad, those rounds start rolling, and it's really hard to start recovering. Looks like T-Rod is able to get the pick off in the back from Jade from that roamer, doing really well on that back end. Still in a 1v2 situation, so not the best. So we'll see if they can come out of this well. Again, rocking some quote-unquote off-meta guns, the Cyclone. Actually performing really well, T-Rod. We'll see if they're able to do well. It gets another pick off. And right now it's coming real close, but unfortunately Envy Drop does make the drop shot on the T-Rod and does secure that win for Project Nebula. And, you know, I think this round shows you they're down, but they're not quite out. Ephesus took that down to a one-person left on Project Nebula. So I don't know. I still think it's anyone's game, you know?
Yeah, a solid job there from the Nebula squad, and economy firmly into their hands as they go on to the defense. Still, though, no buys coming in, so we are going to likely see what we've been seeing, the 1-1 trade, but then ultimately the team that's buying into these omens, Ephesus, not left with much cash even off of a win. Right now, outside of ET and Ninja and Jim, if anyone, you know, if they spend any more money, there's just going to be no options for that Vezin going into that round 3, even if they win this next round with those omens. So we are seeing sort of a half buy, I guess, with 2 omens coming in for T-Rod and Serial. I imagine those will be the point attackers in the push on both sides, so we will try to keep our eyes onto both of them as they work their way down and in to our second offensive round here on Skyscraper. And I don't know if the omens are going to be enough to get them, but they do have the right idea of covering their angles, making sure that no one's going to be peeking out too early. The window breach and drone comes down, and so you are seeing a pretty coordinated attack attempt coming in from Ephesus, and that's what we have been seeing essentially all day today, really. They have been playing pretty coordinated as a squad, and especially with these breaches and entries. They're all in sync. It's just a matter of one roamer getting lucky, which could be the case if we see Jade here slowly working their way up as that roamer to potentially the back of 3 right now, working towards A.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Maybe their roamers are just getting those lucky picks because they're not watching that flank watch, and we're going to see something develop pretty soon if they don't watch out for Jade right now. But as of right now, Ephesus, they're pretty safe. They're moving up slowly, trying to get some, as I just said, as Jim does get shot off. And it looks like they are already starting to run into some people, and I think we're going to be seeing Jade on that jump real soon, because that team is, I think at this point, Radio is just holding their time, waiting for their teammate on the back end to get them some shots off. And it looks like they do get the shots off, but Jade gets picked off themselves. Unfortunately, that flank did not work out for them right now. And Ephesus is now up 1 player, up 2 players. We'll see if they're able to make anything happen off of this. Gets another third shot down. It is now a 4v1 situation. I cannot talk fast enough for this. And it looks like they are going around server trying to make things happen in the back as they have the flanker potentially walking in through mixing. And right now it's up to 1 newbie 1, seeing if they can clutch up this round and hold down Ephesus from planting or even winning the round. But I would not normally bet on this, but you know, I've seen some crazy players pull out some crazy plays. Maybe 1 newbie 1 is one of those players.
Yep, a solid job again from Ephesus. They are looking good on these rounds. What they really do need right now is a plant. And I think that's what they're going to be pushing in for with Newbie on the defense. T-Rod goes down. They duck back in to try and counter the double swing on the other side, and there's just not enough HP in the world to save themselves. The plant did come in time, and so that's going to be 200 more into the pockets. They need all the cash they can get. That extra 200 actually enables everyone now to full buy, and we're looking at, in some cases, Serial not needing to buy into a new gun, so they're going to hold on to their extra cash, but we do see Vezins coming in on the attack. Everyone essentially going to be full buying in on both attack and defense going into this next round. I think this is the first time we're really going to see these two teams with their full arsenals going at each other.
For sure. I'm definitely pretty excited to see this out. And I think this was definitely an interesting play of what is meta. We saw Project Nebula, I think, try to do something that made sense, which is do 2 save rounds and then go for the Vezin round, but that didn't quite work out for them. You know, Ephesus did the half buy, as you kind of mentioned last round with the Omens, and that actually put them above Project Nebula in the context of the guns and doing better. Because Spectral, it's meta, but it's kind of hard to keep up with the fire rate and power of an Omen, especially at close range, right? Most of those shots are going into your body. It's kind of hard to outshoot that with the Spectral. Even though you're saving money, the other team ends up getting more money from the win and potentially even that plant, right? So definitely seeing some interesting gameplay from both teams. And definitely credit to Ephesus for being on the back heel, but still really putting the pressure in and able to eke out that last round. And I'm excited to see how this round develops out, because as you mentioned yourself, this is definitely one of the more even-ish rounds we've seen compared to something like when we were watching them on Factory, right?
Yeah, we did see a similar round, but I still felt like it didn't go. They didn't get that extra 200. They didn't get that extra plant when it went into the hands of Ephesus, and so there's just a little bit better economy right now for the Ephesus team. And yeah, again, it's just a matter of time on the approach. What's their setup looking like? They are still all synced up and coordinated like they have been so far this afternoon. I don't expect anything there to change as the pings come through and they do get ready for their setup. Manny scoops up one off the back. Not sure where they found that angle, but they do manage to find one and are rotating back around to the other side, tucking back into the objective. Happy off of their kill. Nerdsmith almost goes down through blind fire through the windows, I believe. Or through that green door as the health syringe gets tossed over to Nerd so they can scoop it up and use it. I don't even think they know that it's over on the other side of them. They're looking at Manny confused, saying, "Where is the health syringe?" Manny waving to I just love to see the urgency sometimes in these motions. They're asking for the syringe back and they can't get it. They're down before they're able to toss it back to Manny. Jade peeks out and doesn't find much, but Newbie does. Another headshot coming through. They've lost control of A, and Jim is going to be able to plant the EMP and tuck back into the corner, so that's 200 into the pocket and a 1v3 for Jim.
Definitely impressive. I think we've seen Ephesus play more of these almost off-flank plays, right? They had 3 on one side and 2 on the other bomb side. Unfortunately, not quite working out for them this round. They did get the plant off, as you mentioned, getting some extra cash in their hand, but not quite enough to shake up the team and get that dub, unfortunately, for this round, as it does give Project Nebula another round. I don't know. How'd you feel about that round? It was definitely. I think it looked like it was shaping up for Ephesus to actually win, but it really fell apart a lot quicker, and Project Nebula was able to swoop in and get the win for that round.
Yeah, it's they're not. I think the plant was actually pretty big just to have that extra 200 going into their pockets. And like I was saying earlier, you have players like E.T. the Gamer King and Serial who didn't end up buying in that early round, still with some economy. You know, they're still able to pick up the Vezins and the utility that the rest of their team is not able to. And Jim here directing the rest of the team on where to go, pinging everywhere. They're going to be the drone operator as well with a couple of utility pieces in their pocket. Ultimately, though, not a lot of saving coming in again from Ephesus going into this round. Maybe save, from what I'm seeing here, Ephesus just isn't a team that bothers with saving off of rounds. They spend the money that's available to them into the tools that they feel are the best. There's not really, from what I'm seeing at least, a lot of min-maxing going on with their meta choices. And so we'll have to see how that pays off as the drone does come in here. And they've been, again, doing so good on the coordination. They're you know, a team that's on the cusp of really breaking into the top echelon of these Breachers players, I think. Just a matter of growth and continuing to play and develop as a team, as I do get some good info from the drone on a couple of locations in the back corner. They're now going to be moving in for that push as T-Rod, everyone barreling in here through A with the door blocker down. It's going to be up to Jade and Manny, who are holding things down, and Jade does find the first kill over the top through the doorway. Manny here also tucked in, and Envy drop pushing up as well. Manny maybe indicating they can't hear. I'm not sure what that motion was, but that's a good smoke on the doorway.
Yeah, it looks like Ephesus is trying to slowly inch into A, but it is really held down by Project Nebula with 4 players in on this room. I'm kind of shocked that they're really holding down so many numbers on this room. They're really committing to it. At this point, if there's any push on the B, it's not going to work out well for them. But that's fine. They're holding down, and we got a couple shots off. T-Rod is now down. It is now down to a 5v2 situation. Project Nebula really putting all their bets in on A, and it paid off. Literally no one is on B side, but I think because they believe the enemy team is really going to go for A, and that's what we're seeing. It's developing out that way. We'll see if they do switch it up, going for the off flank option. Unfortunately, there is a static there, so will prevent them from pushing in unless they do have some breaching options, but they do not. I do not see any breaching gadgets in their hands. Looks like they are trying to go in through the static, maybe get 1 or 2 picks off, but they do get shot down by Jade. And it does leave Serial in a 1v5 situation, and everyone's got full health. Definitely not the most desirable situation. This is definitely some John Wick moments where you gotta go in, go crazy, and see what happens, or maybe playing more smart and going, never mind. Never mind.
Project Nebula are feeling good off of a 3-1 win in their pocket. They are playing a clean map 2 here. Map 1 going the way of 7-2. Let's see if I can actually update these scores so we do have the right map score here. I don't think it'll let me. Our system's too advanced now. Map 2 though wins 7-2. Map 1 7-2. Map 2 here going the way again of Project Nebula, but we do see a couple of Vezins coming in from the Ephesus team. But again, we're just not seeing the unity necessarily across the board in this economy. You know, we've seen these individual players, peaking with cash at different points, and so then when maybe someone that has 1800 should be saving, they're buying into an Oral and SMG, something that's not maybe as meta, that as what some would say the top gun, as good of a gun as the Vezin. And I'm sure that the Breachers devs would argue that all guns are balanced perfectly, but when it comes down to the ultra competitive, these players, it's the tiniest thing that can make a gun the meta gun for a lot of people. And so I don't think it's the tiny thing. I do think the Vezin is a very powerful AR and really does a lot of good work in a solid shooter's hands. Jade kicking that off with a nice headshot.
Yeah, I think they almost got the shot off even through a wall bang. Did I see that icon correctly? Kind of shocked. Maybe they saw them peeking in with their hands. Just the small things like that, where even having your hand peeking in through the door will get you killed, as we saw with Envy drop there. And it looks like Ephesus is now already on the back hill with 1 person down, having a 4v2, 4v5 situation. Seeing as that they can push into lounge, see if they can make something happen on the management. T-Rod in the back, able to get that shot off on the beautiful flank there. As T-Rod is trying to make their way up. And his team really, double downing on this cross flanking options that they're doing with their attack. A 3-person team on one side and a 2-person team on the other side. I'm not sure if it's quite working out for them, but definitely able to get a couple of kills off this round, working out in their favor. We'll see if Serial is able to get anything off going here. Right now, it's this 3v2 situation. Is not looking the best for them. We'll see if anyone pokes out, and it looks like Manny is able to get a shot off on Serial, and it looks like it's down to T-Rod. T-Rod in the back, waiting for some pokes, waiting for the team to pull out and really see if they can get a pick off or not. But it looks like they are aware of the situation. Jay comes in and goes in for a quick pre-aim situation, and it does work out for them. And I think moments like that shows that even when you feel like you're far away from people, audio is a really big deal in this game, as that in that moment they actually gave themselves away, right?
Yep. Yeah, map 2 going the way of Project Nebula, 4-1 right now. Just a couple of more rounds to go. The first of 7 takes the map. And in a best of 3 series, we do always play all 3 maps out, but this team can guarantee a win and advance up in rank if they do take these first 2 maps. It makes it so that that third map has a lot less pressure if you're the attack, if you are the winning team. If you're the losing team, you really want those extra points, because at the end of the day, the amount of points that you win or lose determines how much you go up or down in rank. So you want to win any round you can, because ultimately it will minimize how much the loss will impact your team in that regular season ladder. And so that's the real end goal. Like we talked about at the start of the stream, for these teams, they want to go up in the ladder. And so we'll have to see if a round can get scooped up here by the likes of ET as they go on to the attack. Down in economy. A couple of Vezin coming in, but instantly taken away as Newbie scoops up that kill. And the team left kind of stranded. Jade finds one in the head as Envy sees the drone coming out, identifying a couple of players coming in there off of the pings. But Envy doesn't even care, just barreling forward off of the kills. Ninja alone as they push through the stairs, and Jim trying to drone for info, but ultimately it's a 1v5 sort of situation as Ninja pushes into the objective. Oh.
Yes, and now Ninja just got shot down, and it looks like Ephesus is down to a 1v5. Never mind, it is now Project Nebula's won that round, and it looks like things did not quite work out for them at all for this map. And we do have the side reset. We'll see if anything switches up for Project Nebula and Ephesus, but I don't know. It's looking hard, right? It's not looking like the best situation right now for Ephesus. I'm getting kind of nervous for them, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see if they can switch it up again. Maybe one team is just dominant. Defending.
Yeah, especially this map too. I think I've talked about it before with Phil. Their opinion is, and mine kind of too, is that I feel like this map does lend itself to defense more than offense. It's pretty hard to break in through anywhere effectively in that courtyard just because you're so vulnerable to so many different doors and windows. If you set up in that courtyard and you wait even a little bit too long, you're just going to get completely caught out by the defense. And so it is sort of a map that you have to move. You have to really get into the objective space kind of quick. You can't really lag around too much on the outer edges of the map. And I don't know if that makes it more difficult on the offense, but we'll see how the attacking side of the Project Nebula squad goes now. As we do swap, we go into that round reset, everyone back to the pistols, and ET on defense, as we do see, again, Project Nebula coordinated in sync, working their way up towards A. Ninja stretching and getting ready as Nerdsmith catches the first kill onto ET. ET set up outside of their door blocker and that breachable door, and so maybe a little bit too aggressive, but either way, Envy just a sliver of health left, and a push coming in from Jade on the other side towards B. The breach here as T-Rod shuts down one. They get quickly scooped up by Miami. The push out from Ninja as Jim defends the other side. There's the kill from Ninja. Jade goes down from Jim, and suddenly there's only one left from on Project Nebula, but it's a full health Nerdsmith pushing into A. No EMP in hand, and as I say that, they scoop it up off the floor, so they may be able to get a 200-point plant here on the board for their team if they're a little quiet about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster of a round. I really thought Project Nebula was going to hold that one down, and then things just swung in the other direction. Granted, it is a 100 health person and a 1 health person, so does that really count as 2 players or 1.5? Never mind. Right as I say that, they do get the syringe off, and their health is coming in slowly. We'll see if Ninja's able to get shot off, and they do get not picked off. Wow, I did totally misread that. It looks like Ninja themselves are actually now down to 2 health. At this point, it's now down to Nerdsmith, seeing if they can get a pick on one of these players, knowing that they are pinned, and their teammates desperately calling out for that syringe play, see if things work out. And Jim does go in for the shot, unfortunately on the dead body. Might have been a little confused from that blue player. We'll see if Nerdsmith can hold us down. It's now down to 1 minute, does get shot out by Ninja, and it now does give Ephesus the first win actually on their defenders round.
A big round to take that first one and put it on the board. A solid job from them. Now their economy set nicely up for round number 8. And like I said, maybe this is the way this map goes. The defense tends to have that slight advantage just because of how the map's laid out. But we've seen, in particular, this Project Nebula team not let up more than one round before they come back and reset that economy. They are saving here, interestingly enough, and they really do have their backs against the wall for the first time economically this map. But we have seen this before, and you just can't count this Nebula team out, even with the pistols in hand. They're going to scoop up some utility. They're going to have a coordinated breaching plan. It's going to come down to how these Omens and Vipers ultimately pay off for the defensive side. But I do like the buys coming in from Ephesus. I think that especially now you can afford to pick up these SMGs, and you almost know that Nebula's going to be saving here into the pistol round. So you might as well try your luck at winning with the SMGs versus the pistols, because that's ultimately what this round comes down to.
For sure. I think, as you mentioned earlier, this is a good time to be doing a half buy round, right? Get a couple of gadgets in, get those SMGs, knowing that you'll be fighting against most likely either SMGs themselves or pistols. And as we've seen with the pieces, they're pretty solid. They're pretty solid with their SMGs. They do some off-meta guns that still work out in their favor, right? Right now we see Project Nebula coming down a staircase together, a 3-person group. We'll see if they do anything coming out of this. Looks like there aren't any roamers on Ephesus, I believe, if I'm looking at this correctly. So they are playing pretty close to site, pretty anchored on site, as Project Nebula is trying their best to kind of come in, sneak in, get a couple shots off, and looks like they're trying to have a play develop on B. And let's see how this kind of works out right now. Ninja, everyone on B side looking around, trying to see what's going to happen. They do get the breach out. Looks like Project Nebula is starting to look in, trying to get some pokes in potentially. And they are making their play in. They do get a shot off on Jim. Unfortunately, did not work out for them. And still pretty tight right now. Pretty holding on the site. Trying to see if they can poke in, get a couple shots off. It looks like Manny does get a shot off, and it looks like Newbie gets another shot off. And Project Nebula is just starting to push really hard now. T-Rod stuck in the corner, does get shot out, and at this point it is down to the Gamer King. And I'm going to be flanking in through the hallway, trying to see if they can push onto this team and get this 1v4 situation scored out for themselves with the EMP planted.
Not going to be easy with Manny there on the corner. They'll find the kill with the Viper. It's going to be another round in the Nebula's pocket, and they are one away from taking the series. The flexes coming in from Jade there. They just need this next round, and they will have that series win in their pocket. We'll see what they can do. So far, though, it has been Project Nebula really dominating the space. A good back and forth. We look at the KDs. You can see that some kills, again, coming in on the side of Ephesus. They are scooping up some kills, 7 and 8, 5 and 6. But then you have two powerhouses in Jade and Manny, 10 and 3 apiece on the attacking side now. Well, defending side initially, but attacking side now. And it is... I think what it comes down to in a lot of ways is that meta buy. You know, it is the saving. It is scooping up the Vezins versus the SMGs. You know, ultimately, though, those SMGs, it's not a bad buy. You know, it does have its tactical purpose. We are seeing it winning them some rounds when otherwise this team may not be taking rounds up against Project Nebula. But either way, we are still into the early weeks of the season, and so we're still trying to figure out, again, where everyone sort of sits as a team. And I honestly don't think Ephesus is far off from giving Nebula a much harder challenge in maybe a week or two from now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've seen it time and time again in these past two maps that Ephesus has some pretty solid either attacking plays or defending plays. Maybe they're just not executing them as well as they could have, or things are just not working out in their favor. Whether it's some roamer that's just getting lucky on a couple shots here or there, or a team just being a little bit careless. And right there, the Gamer King does get a couple shots off, and Jade is able to actually trade that. So now they're down to a 3v4 situation, actually. We'll see if Project Nebula is able to make something happen out of this, as they are now on the back heel this round, even though they did, I think, actually have the quote-unquote meta guns this round, right? Playing I think almost, I'm not sure they were fully kitted out Vezins, but a lot of their teammates did have Vezins ready for this round, doing pretty well. But we'll see how things kind of work out as they now are trying to be pushing into A side. Gets a shot off from the long range. T-Rod unfortunately did not see that and was not ready to fight against that. That does even things out for Ephesus and Project Nebula. Now it's a 3v3 situation, and Manny vaulting in slowly, getting the one-handed shot and the second kill right afterwards, as now they're holding down A side, and Ninja trying their best to peek in, does get shot off by Project Nebula, and that does give them the win for this map.
Manny just barreling down for the series win, locking in map number 2 for Project Nebula. That is going to be the series in their hands, and I'm just realizing now I gotta update this to say week 3. I do apologize, folks. There we go. A little late, but it's all good. And I think that's going to be it for us here on the desk. You know, the series done. These teams will still play out map number 3, but we're going to let them do that on their own time. We do appreciate everyone that did stop in and catch the action here this afternoon, though. A solid battle. Ultimately, Nebula putting up more points. They're locking in those first 2 maps 7-2 apiece. A nice attempt from Ephesus, but ultimately not enough. A quick shout out to our sponsors, ProTube VR. We do appreciate their support, again, offering fantastic stocks to enhance your aim in-game, and also HyperX with great products ranging from the headphones to the in-ear buds to the mics to the keyboard, the mouse, an easy recommendation. Shout out to Triangle Factory for supporting the league, and well, I suppose if they're going to be quick about it, Martini, we could stick around for map number 3, don't you think? I mean, if they're going to play it out here.
You know what? I'm totally down for Hideout. Actually, this is one of my favorite maps.
All right, we'll stick around for map 3 here. Ultimately, though, again, it is into the hands of Project Nebula, but they still have to play the 3rd map out because rounds do matter. So we'll get to see how Hideout shakes out as we do get in straight away. No delays, no subs. These teams ready to go for their final map of the series.
Yeah, definitely excited to see what they can do. See that maybe Project Nebula can hold it down once more, or Ephesus comes out and who knows, gets a consolation win for themselves. Because I know they still didn't really get the series win, but I know for myself, I would be mad at this point, right? I would be coming back, seeing if, hey, can we hold this down and do well? But I will say, unfortunately, Project Nebula is on the attacking side, and I think Hideout is one of those attacker-centric maps. As T-Rod does get picked out, to try to be a roamer on the 2nd floor. Didn't quite work out for them, and Manny able to get another shot off. Already 2 down, 4 pieces, as Project Nebula is making a very coordinated push onto Jim into B side, and we'll see if anything develops out of this. And they get another pick off and another pick off, and that it is a 5-0. It's a shutout round, I would say.
Almost.
For Project Nebula. Almost. Oh, they get hit by a turbine. I saw
They killed everyone. They had breached that door, and they just hadn't pushed through it yet. And so after they killed everybody, they pushed through to retrieve any utility, and they ran through the trip line. And yeah, 1 goes down. So nice job, solid scoop up there with at least 1 kill, 150 going into the pockets of cereal. But yeah, ultimately a dominant push in from Project Nebula. They are really running away with momentum right now. They obviously have that 2-map win right already in their pockets, and momentum is a hard thing to deal with, as we do have players putting arms through walls. Right now, you can't shoot, you can't break things, but you can definitely see when you're clipping through the walls. And so these 2 players are, yeah, well, they're not going to be doing that in a matter of seconds from now when that buy phase ticks down and the breach comes through. But I like the static emitter coming down on that doorway entry.
For sure. We'll see if they have anything developing out of this. I know people play Hatch all the time on Hideout, especially on the 3rd floor attacking. We'll see Project Nebula as they do doing a lot of split attention, pushing in through Family Room, Balcony, and we'll see if T-Rod's able to have anything happen. They do have the drone out, trying to get those picks off, trying to get those intel for Project Nebula to come in, maybe get a couple wall bangs if possible. We'll see if anything works out for them right now, as they are getting some shots out, making a really good, strong push on the A, but they do get picked out by Ephesus, but it's a trade, and another down for Ephesus, and Project Nebula is up and does have the EMP planted. We'll see if anything works out of this, and they do get drop shotted and shot down there, and it's now down to 2. We'll see if anything can work out of this. Serial trying their best to get a couple shots, but Manny again going on another kill streak, just going. Well, Manny's at 5-0 right now, killing it. And at this point, it is Manny running around trying to get that last kill. I think Manny's hungry for that last kill. And we'll see if Ninja slowly peeking out, trying to see if anything can work out in their favor. Do get a couple shots on Manny, and unfortunately that does end Manny's kill streak. But that does give Ninja, called out by the enemy team at this point. They're on the back heel. They got the EMP planted, and it's down to 2 players. We'll see if Ninja is able to eke out anything. And no, they do get shot down by Nerdsmith, and that does give the round to Project Nebula.
Up 2-0 right out the gate. That puts them firmly in the lead for the future. 2 to 3 rounds economically, at least. They really are set up nicely. They're going to be full buying into this next round and the round after this, even if they lose. Meanwhile, we're seeing a lack of economic management at this stage, coming in from Ephesus, and it's all a learning game, right? Especially this economy. It might not be something you really think about a lot, in terms of like, I should be saving money for the next round, or that it stacks up, or, there's so many little calculations that can be done. And we do see teams at the very high level managing economy. It is a very important thing for them. In some cases, teams will opt to have that one player not buy into any weapons so that they're saving money, so that they can put attachments onto guns, so they can optimize their spending across their team. There's ways you can really spread the cash to make sure that you're getting the best out of your buck. And we're just not quite seeing that out of Ephesus this afternoon. And that's fine. It's only week 3 of the preseason. So it's all a learning experience, and if you're ever going to learn, now is the time to try and improve, figure stuff out. Envy drops, Scoop pops up over the top to find that kill. And I do think Ephesus are definitely going to learn a thing or two about what a good coordinated push looks like, as Jade over the back top scoops up another kill. The breach full in here as B is there, as the plant should be coming in from Manny shortly. And it's going to be about T-Rod retaking as they do drop down and try and get the kill on the Nerdsmith, but they just don't have the equivalent firepower. The Vezin finds the kill. They go up 3-0, and I think we're barreling towards a 7-0 at this rate, because ET are just never going to have a round where they're able to get the guns they need, unless they finally start to save.
Definitely. I mean, Project Nebula, they're already a pretty solid team, as we've seen, right, with Map 1 and Map 2, and then now coming to Map 3, and they're starting on the Enforcers, one of the more, especially on Hideout, one of the more maps where it actually favors the Enforcers. So I'm honestly not surprised that we're seeing them perform so well, coming in hot, attacking them from so many different angles. And things are working out for them, right? Right now, Ephesus, as you mentioned, they're constantly kind of working with this weird, can I kill enough with these SMGs? Can I not? I'm fighting, especially when you're fighting against teams with fully kitted Vezins, right? So things aren't really quite working out for them in these couple of rounds. But we'll see if anything develops out of this. I mean, we're going into round 4. We've seen them attack floor 3 again. We'll see if they play the same exact play and see if it works out or not. But who knows? Things to switch up. Maybe they get a crazy kill streak. I don't know. And T-Rod is able to get the shot off, and there is a trade from both sides right now. It looks like we are still pretty even, as Project Nebula trying their best to push in and attack through bedroom. Do get the pick off on Serial. They're pushing in pretty hard. Ninja able to get a couple shots off, but not quite get the kill. It looks like ET on the back end does get a shot, and it looks like they are pushing hard into bedroom. And it's not looking like the best situation right now for Project Nebula, as this might be a round that might not work out in their favor. And it is a lot of trading back and forth. Right now it's down to Ninja and Jade. We'll see if anything works out. And Ninja is able to get the shot off. And wow, I was totally thinking Project Nebula will hold that down. But hey, you know what I told you at the beginning of this round? We'll see what happens.
I mean, what do we know about the meta? That was literally Omens versus Vezins. You couldn't have gotten a more specific sort of matchup right there, and the Omens end up winning over the full Vezin buy coming in from Project Nebula. Maybe the S. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this stage, but that was a impressive round win and a big round win for this Ephesus team, because now they actually have a chance. They've been putting rounds on the board every single map, despite them losing both maps. They've put at least 2 or 3 rounds on the board, and so that's what they're trying to do here. Again, like I had mentioned, all of the rounds won do matter. At the end of the day, they help determine how much you go up or down in rank, and so any point here is a valuable point for the Ephesus team. So that Omen round, definitely pretty big. We'll now see how T-Rod sets up with a Vezin in hand off of a successful round win. 2,500 going into their pocket, so they had plenty of cash to scoop it up. Able to put a couple of attachments on as well, and if Nerdsmith tries to breach in here too callously, they'll find a full AR right in their face. And as I say that, Nerdsmith actually drops down off the door, off the window breach, not opting for that. Going to reconnect with the team that is already pushing into objective. Ninja scoops up one, trying to get through the doorway.
And it looks like Project Nebula trying to make their good push in the workbench, get into A site, and it does work out for them right now. And at this point, it looks like there's only one roamer off site and Serial on B site, holding it down on Boiler. But it looks like it's not quite working out for them, because Project Nebula will be getting the plant off, getting those extra 200 points, and we'll see if Newbie, holding a little cheeky spot right up in the corner, in close, does get the shot off on Serial, and as they were not expecting that, because I would have not seen that either.
The camo too was there as well, so they didn't see that active camo turned on. And now T-Rod is going to be pushing forward to Project Nebula. The retake is in order as Nerdsmith and Newbie have tucked back into corners. The plant is down. They're waiting for the defuse to come through, and then they'll pop out. And as I say that, Newbie finds shots through the side of the wall there, of the doorway. That's why they saw that puncture kill technically, but they find the kill. They go up 4-1. One more round before economy resets, and so both teams going to spend everything they got on round 6. And, I mean, this is just how the series has been going. Ephesus fighting and doing okay, but ultimately not good enough to win against the likes of Project Nebula. And it's been exciting. I am happy we stuck around for map 3, because it is definitely a solid back and forth here, and we did get to see Omens prevail for us for a round, but you know,
it was a pretty hilarious Omen round, and definitely really fun to actually have it on the cast, because I think you can finally point at people and say, hey, look, I don't know, it worked out for them. Maybe there's a Omen meta. I don't know about that, but we'll see. I think, you know, coming into this last round before the reset, Ephesus, we've seen them win random rounds here and there, so I know they have it in them. But at this point, it's really just, I think, execution and really holding down those things and really tightening up certain strategies, as you mentioned, things like economy. And as you can see, they have the game mechanics, as Ninja's able to get that shot off on Nerdsmith. And it looks like on the back end, we have NB drop, getting the couple shots in, pushing into Garage. Trying to breach in pretty quick into B, as we've seen a lot from Project Nebula, making these very aggressive, fast-moving plays. We'll see if it does work out for them in this round, as they do push in the B side, trying to go in. They do try to get a couple shots off, and it looks like there's a lot of crossfire going on right now, with Jay getting a couple shots off on the roamer, but Ninja able to get another couple shots off, and another 2-kill. Got that 2-piece, and at this point, it is down to a 2v1 situation. Where again, I'm telling you, Ephesus, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're doing, but some rounds they really just come in and swing things in their favor. As we've seen these crazy roller coaster rounds. At this point, it looks like Serial and Ninja are trying to pinch into this rotation spot. And Jake, and Jade coming in with a clutch win right at the end of this switching sides round. And you know, I can never bet on an esports game. You know, you have moments like this where it swings to one team and you're like, you know what, it's got to be them. Then it just totally swings in the other direction. When you have someone like that coming in clutch at the last end of the round with a 2-piece. I don't know. It's a lot of back and forth.
I mean, yeah, and again, Ephesus really have been fighting. You know, they've been so close. on getting these rounds, but it's just those final clutch moments where they're not able to lock things in, the double headshot kill coming through to get that round win. You know, it's just like, man, the 2v1 just not going their way. They can't quite put the pieces together of the puzzle, but it's again, it's why I'm interested to see how Ephesus develops. I want to see where they're at in weeks 5 and 6 of the season, you know, as a team, what their record is, because I imagine from this game they're definitely going to be able to learn quite a bit, especially with their economy management, and maybe not. Maybe they'll stick to the SMGs even more after watching this series. You know, who knows what their choices are going to end up being, but either way, they have been putting in good rounds. We have swapped sides now, and so we do see Primordial on the defense and already kicking things off with Envy Drop scooping up a kill.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure when this team reviews this cast, see if they can learn anything from it. I think they'll get a couple things. Either they'll go crazy in on the SMGs from this point on because they've been able to get those pheasant win rounds in a crazy swing of events. But I think, as we mentioned before, Ephesus again. Oh wow, another good shot by Ninja. We get a couple shots off. Another two-piece by Ninja again. And I got to say, Ninja's definitely been performing very well in the series in general, and let alone this game specifically, as they do have a 10-5 KD right now, and it looks like it's down to a 1v2 situation with Ninja, which normally I discount anyone, but I don't know. I've seen Ninja literally just get a two-piece back-to-back, and at this point, it is on them. Oh wow, Ninja's able to get the one shot off on Envy, and at this point it's down to a 1v1 situation between Ninja and one newbie. We'll see if anything works out for them, as one newbie is in the background trying to get that jump spot, get a little cheeky shot off on it to Ninja potentially, and we'll see how things kind of work out from that point. But Ninja does get in slowly. Looks like it will be the flashing of the two, and it looks like newbie's able to get a shot off on Ninja, and things did not quite work out for Ephesus. Really close to almost getting that clutch round, but as you mentioned before, Ephesus, they're just not quite there. They get so close. They get down to 2 players, but they just can't finish it off.
Yep, a nice attempt again from that team, but ultimately not enough to get them the round win. Apologies for the couple of rounds here that I've actually left my the cameras up. I am still trying to sort out a couple of different things on my end for this stream. It's why you do not see that third map score line right now as well, because I've messed up going to a. We had to go to that intermission, and that's still something that we don't. It's fine. We're all good. We're ironing out the kinks over here. We'll have everything sorted by next stream. I guarantee it. Those stats will be showing up on the post screen Steam, and it'll be solid. But yeah, I do apologize for those moments. I think I've done it twice now so far in these rounds in this whole series.
Hey, we're good. We're still in preseason. We're still working out the details, you know?
We're still learning. We're still training over here, okay?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well. It looks like Ephesus is developing their play right now. Looks like they have T-Rod on the back end, trying to see if they can get a couple shots on Newbie, and they do get the shots on Newbie. I'm not quite sure Newbie didn't hear the window crack, but it's fine. They did not work out for them. It looks like Jade is able to get a couple shots off and get that kill in through Foyer. It looks like they are trying to get that front door, and they do get picked off right now. Ninja able to get another shot off again. Ninja just dominating with their gameplay, and it looks like Ephesus gets another kill. At this point, it's now down to a 3v2 situation with one person having 10 health, but it does not matter. Jade at 10 health, still able to finish off and get a kill, now making things equal, and it looks like we are closing down in on this round. I'm not quite sure who's gonna win. I've seen some crazy gameplay from both sides of these teams, and it looks like it's now down to a 2v2 situation with very similar health, literally 110 and 110 from both players. And I don't know, I just these two teams have been, I think, very fun to watch because things are just unexpected. It's been a roller coaster ride. And it really can go in any direction, right? But it looks like T-Rod does get a shot off on Nerdsmith, and at this point, it's now down to a 2v1 situation, which, I think was it Jay?
Yeah,
literally
it was.
The other round? I would not discount this. We've seen it work out in Jade's favor, especially with one person being 10 health. I don't know. At this point, Jade taking their time, walking in, trying to see if they can get a couple picks out, or maybe catch someone on the back foot before they make the push in. But right now, Ephesus does have the upper hand, does have the EMP in hand, and unfortunately, T-Rod is able to shut them down, and that does give Ephesus the win. And again, we're seeing Ephesus I gotta give credit to Ephesus. We've seen, in Breachers, people always say, like, you start losing it and it starts rolling, right? But Ephesus, we've seen them get a random win, like, after 3 or 4 losses in a row, and it boggles my mind. But that's why I think you're right. Ephesus, in a couple weeks, when they tighten up their strategy, they could actually be a pretty dominant team if they kind of tighten things down. And obviously, Project Nebula already doing an amazing job. And at this point, it's just even further refining their skills to see how high they can get on this ladder. And I don't know, maybe they make top 10. Who knows? You never really quite know. Some of these teams could really switch things around and go pretty far.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some names when it comes season 6, 7 that people aren't quite familiar with that are in that top 10, because there are just going to be teams that do really hone the craft in over the course of this preseason. Hopefully, these casts are good tools for these players to grow and develop with as well. And so overall, you just see an increase in skill across the board with something like what we're doing with the VRML. And so far, so good, as we're seeing interesting utility tosses coming in from T-Rod. I wonder what the plan is there. A full buy, though, coming in from Ephesus. They are not wasting any cash on this round. They're spending all of it on utility, grenades, smokes, breaches. It's all here. There's no trap mine to push them in through B. They're going to get the EMP plant down as well. As shots come through the pistols, they do catch the kill. And I don't know if that EMP got fully planted before they found those shots.
I don't think so. Looks like they got literally one hand on it before getting just shot down and mowed down by Project Nebula. And that's why I think this play wouldn't work on Project Nebula. We've seen Project Nebula do really well at holding against really simple attack strategies. And obviously doesn't quite work out for them in that moment. Looks like Jay does get the kill off in the back end. Manny gets another kill. Gets another kill. A 2-piece back-to-back on this point is now down to a 4v1 situation. And, looking down, and looks like Serial able to get another kill off as a wall bang. Wow, and it looks like they are trying their best to really get it off, but it did not quite work out with them. And as we see again, Ephesus having those SMGs, trying their best to kind of eke things out, but didn't quite work out for them in that moment.
That's going to be it for the series as it's into the hands of the Project Nebula 4 squad. They'll take map number 3, and they'll lock in a full 3-map series win, 7-2. A nice attempt from Ephesus at the end of the day, but not enough to get them the win. Your final thoughts before we sign off, Martini, on your first cast for VRML and what was ultimately, I think, a pretty good back and forth.
Definitely a very exciting game to be casting because, it wasn't really a roll. I say don't look at the scoreline too heavily because there were so many rounds where it really came down to 1 or 2 players clutching it up for that round, especially when you have players like Jade or Manny on another team. I get it. It's very hard. They're great clutch players, but we've seen people like Ninja on, Ephesus really come out and get 2-3-piece kills back-to-back. So it came down to the wire, but again, Project Nebula, they just had things a little bit tighter than Ephesus, and that's why I think things worked out in their favor.
A solid battle here this afternoon, and we appreciate everyone tuning in to catch it. We had a bunch of people dropping by on the YouTube channel. Please do hit that subscribe button and the like button if you haven't already. But that's going to be it from us here on the desk. My name has been Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Martini. We will see you all tomorrow, most likely, for another cast, so do be sure to check the website and make sure that you're subscribing here because you'll see when games are going to be coming live on the YouTube channel. But until next time, my name has been Nightfire with Martini. We'll see you later.